Let's go to former Trump White House attorney Ty Cobb. So, Ty, obviously Trump's going to go to the Supreme Court on this. So I guess, is this something we would find out then by the end of the June session for the Supreme? I mean, I would assume this goes that fast. I don't know. You tell me whether I'm crazy. And does he win or lose it?
Well, it would be up to the court, of course, how quickly they move. But yes, I would think this might, I think this might be resolved by June. There's an issue, of course, as to whether the Supreme Court would take it, depending on what either the Federal Circuit or the D.C. Court of Appeal, the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals will do with Judge Contraras' opinion of today. These are not really controversially reasoned decisions. The Court of International Trade opinion was 3 judges, including a Trump appointee, Tim Reif, who, very serious judge, highly regarded, one of the most experienced trade lawyers of our time before he went on the court. And then Judge Contraras is, while an Obama appointee, has a history of calling balls and strikes. He's made some rulings that irritated Republicans. He's made some rulings that irritated Democrats, but he's always been sort of right down the middle. Neither of them found this a very difficult legal issue. Under any analysis, the arguments put forth by the government were easily rejected.
Well, they obviously were using wartime powers, national security, and tariffs, in much of American history.
But he's making. I mean, I think both courts concluded that he's making that up. I mean, and that that's what he did in the Alien Enemies Act. We're at war with a gang, but the statute requires a country and an invasion. So I think these are powers that he's, claimed for himself. He views himself as all powerful. The 2025 people, are trying to maximize the powers of the presidency. But just because he says it doesn't make it so.
So when Karoline Levit, the press secretary today, says the court should have no role here, and then she said America cannot function if Trump or any other president has their diplomatic or trade negotiations railroaded by activist judges. Right. So they're going back to any judge that would rule against them as activist. You've already pointed out not just the credibility of these judges, but one of them was appointed by Trump himself. What do you say, though, to her?
I don't think creepy Karoline, when she speaks, I don't think anybody in America really takes her seriously on a matter of substance. I mean, she's not, learned by any imagination. And I think her comments are clearly so defensive and so ill-informed that people may largely turn her out. She's wrong. And keep in mind, these courts are not trying to participate in international trade matters. All they're doing is ruling on whether a statute authorizes actions by a president. Did Congress delegate its authority to the president under this statute? And the statute in question has never in history been used in connection with tariffs. So I think the likelihood is that this statute will be upheld and enforced in a way that, precludes the president from trying to pretend that he has these all-encompassing powers.
So the headline of the Drudge Report today trolled Trump. I don't know if you saw this, Ty, but it posted an AI-generated image of him in a taco suit and a hat with the headline TACO, which, of course, is the acronym that stands for Trump Always Chickens Out, which has, gotten some pickup on Wall Street, basically of how they've been trading the tariffs. He says one thing, but we know he'll back down, and that's why the markets have basically, ignored the trade war. This came, though, after he was asked about the taco trade, and it was by a reporter from CNBC, and it rattled him clearly. Let me just play it.
Wall Street analysts have coined a new term called the taco trade. They're saying Trump always chickens out on your tariff threats, and that's why markets are higher this week. What's your response to that?
I kick out?
Chicken out.
Oh, isn't that nice? Chicken out. I've never heard that. We had a dead country. We had a country people didn't think it was going to survive, and you ask a nasty question like that. It's called negotiation.
So, Ty, you know how important the tariffs are to him, and you know him well, and you see his response there. How much of all of this bothering him right now?
Oh, I think it bothers him very much. I mean, what you heard there was, the rant of, Trump the wounded narcissist. He doesn't take criticism well, and he responds typically with, these riffs like that, and or what he went on with at West Point about trophy wives and et cetera, et cetera. He just, when he gets deeply into his own fears and insecurity, he's capable of saying anything. This is very troubling to him. It's an affront to him that judges hold him, to account. It's an affront to him that when the facts are not with him, that he's confronted with them, and he's not capable of saying, I made a mistake. He's not capable of